Guys, I want to thank you for investing in another episode of the Shareholders podcast. I lost my thing yet. Anyway, we're here, man. We're getting it in. It's makeshift. This is how I used to do it. Put on my specs. In my old show, we would just set up. Guys would come in. This is how the show actually started, how I first got into podcasting. We would just be talking so much after church, and we would start doing things. I'm like, hey, let's just put it on wax. So we doing that. It's folk in the background. It is what it is. It's raw. It's uncut. I got my man with me. It'll be more people probably dropping in at some point, but I have to talk about the NBA and what in the world is going on, man, oh man. And I mean that on certain levels, okay? If you've been following, there has been a tumultuous NBA season. We are in the playoffs right now. When we are taping this, the last game that was played was Atlanta in Milwaukee, where Atlanta prevailed, and Milwaukee looks like they lost Giannis for a significant amount of time. We don't know yet. They just said the test came back, no structural damage, so we don't know how long he's going to be out. First of all, my man, Buck, you done seen a lot. You done a lot. What do you think about these playoffs so far, man?
Hey, I'm glad to be here with you, Monty, and all the shareholders. Playoffs so far they've been good. They've been very competitive. Too bad my LA Lakers were not sustained.
Let's get that out the way.
But the team that sent them on vacation, that's who I'm rooting for. I just want to be honest about that.
So that's how you do it.
Yeah, that's my pick. If you're gonna take out the champs, then guess what? You rolling. So
come on in.
Hopefully you and your guys, far as Phoenix Suns, hopefully they have enough in the tank to finish off that other LA team.
Right.
I'm not throwing salt. I'm just
you call
I'm just calling it like it is.
The other LA team.
The other LA team, because we got to count championships. So
yeah. Now, okay. Here's the thing about it. Let me just go through some things. We've seen an unprecedented amount of injuries, right? Whole lot of injuries is going down. They said if Giannis actually misses, come on, I got a spot. If Giannis actually misses a game, he will be the 9th All-Star to miss playoff action, and that has been unprecedented. Okay, see, we're just going to have guys coming in, rotating out. Do you feel, panel, guys, he's esteemed panel of NBA experts, that the injuries have anything to do with the short rest from coming off the COVID season? All right?
I would have to say yes, because typically – you would have a lot more resting between games, and guys who normally would have a little bit of load management might have more time to recoup and be restored after games, whereas sometimes it's back-to-back. There were times this season where there was a game one night and literally the next night they're back to playing again, and I think over time that definitely takes some toll on players' bodies, and so I'd have to say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's not only the short window, because really, unless you made the finals, it wasn't that short of a window for you, like Miami and LA. But I think the compressed amount of games, like Josh was saying, 4 games in 7 nights. I think over the span of a season, even though it was fewer games, it obviously had a impact because we've never had this many injuries. So. Players have complained about having 72 games, having 82 games, having 72 in a shorter amount of time. That's a lot of wear and tear night to night. So I think they had a big emphasis on it.
Yeah.
I would agree with the panel as well. I think not only the compressed schedule, but then also some of the major players, or what we call the superstars of the league, the all-stars, they play a lot of minutes.
Right there, yeah.
And I think that's the key. Every team doesn't load manage. We're not going to go into that, but there's a team, and there are certain players that are like, listen, I want to be around for the playoffs. But with 72 games, you don't have a lot of time to load manage.
Right.
But I believe because of the compressed schedule, but then 2, because of our league superstars play a lot of minutes.
Yeah, well, and it's crazy because they said so far in this playoffs, I think they said it's like Paul George has played 730 minutes, and then the next guy was Devin Booker at like 600 minutes. So you see they're riding these guys. Now, to be fair, we've seen just some freak things. You know, Trae Young stepping on the ref's foot. That's just a freak thing. Even the Giannis thing, it wasn't like, you know, like he just was going up and the guy hit him. Brian got rolled up. You know, some of this stuff just happens, but there have been some other factors too, you know, where when guys aren't maybe in the best of shape, to me, that's where you see the injuries, you know, AD, you know, Harden and all that. Now, so everybody is kind of complaining at the league like, man, y'all brought these dudes back too early. Now, I understand something. Ain't no y'all brought these guys back too early because it's collectively bargained and the players had to vote.
That's correct.
To come back. Because here's the thing, players. Okay, 82 games is too much. We want 60 games. Okay, so you know you cutting that check about a quarter off. Now, y'all ready to do that? Now,
That's it.
maybe Brian can do that because Brian got Space Jam money.
Correct.
But the 11th guy on the
That's correct.
Kings, he probably need that money. You know what I'm saying?
And to that, I mean, like, let's not forget, it wasn't unintentional. They did get about 4 months off.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
when
yes.
the whole when COVID and stuff happened. So that's why I was saying I feel like if you made it far in the playoffs, you know,
Yeah.
you kind of get a break. Like, you know, obviously Miami did not come back the same, but other teams, you got a good 4 months up. And I think a team like Phoenix, that's where they kind of were able to flourish because they got some time off. They've had time together.
Well,
they
yeah.
stay relatively healthy all year.
Both finals teams didn't make it out the first round.
Correct.
And I think
correct.
that had to do with the fatigue. But, you know, unfortunately, COVID touched all businesses. And, you know, this didn't just happen. They had to scramble and do things. The reason why they brought those guys back in the bubble, remember they played about 8-9 games in the bubble, was because they would have lost hundreds of millions of dollars if they hadn't, because they wouldn't have fulfilled the TV contracts.
That's true.
And that's really what it's about. Now, I'm going to bring up a quick statistic I had because this is how important this is, and I'm going to parlay this into something else. The NBA is up for a big rights increase, and what that means is, you know, when you see ABC or NBC or ESPN put the games on, or TNT, they pay the NBA a sum of money, then they put the games on TV, and then how they recoup the money is through advertising. So that deal that the NBA makes while the networks is coming up. The NBA currently has a $24 billion deal that is coming up with these programs. It is about to go, they're looking to go now to $75 billion. You see? So that means y'all got to play, fellas.
At the end of the day.
It, like, as much as, you know, and we about to get into the ripple effect of the injuries, but it is business, y'all. This is big business.
Yes, it is.
These guys making a lot of money, and the reason why they make a lot of money is from the TV guys, and the TV guys make money from the advertisers, and the advertisers make money because we buy the stuff, you know, the Nike shoes Brian endorse, or the food, all that stuff. So now that leads to this. Here is an issue right here. We've lost a lot of superstars. And so we've got a very unique set of teams in the Final Four, right? And come on, pull up a chair. And so we don't have our star power, our normal star power. Is that a good or bad thing? Let's go around the panel real quick. We're going to work some more people in. We got folk coming through. Is that a good or bad thing that we don't got Brown, we don't got Steph, we don't got our normal guys? What do you feel?
You know, in one sense, it's nice to, as a fan, see some new faces there, that teams that have not traditionally been in the finals. But at the same time, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because there's certain players that you're used to seeing there each and every year. Someone said for the last 10 years, it's either been Steph or LeBron in the playoffs. And so that's what NBA fans have come to expect. Yep. And when you don't see those players there and they've grown to be your favorite players, you kind of have a little bit less interest in the finals, unless your team is actually there, the team that you happen to be rooting for, you know, if it's not a Steph or LeBron team. So
that's which is true. What is your thought on that?
I think it's great for the league because the average fan gets a chance to see players who are not the marquee names compete at a very high clip. The one thing I've been impressed with is the fact that you have guys who've been journeymen, like Chris Paul, true veteran, but you can see his impact playing with Phoenix. I mean, you see it very clearly. And so, and it's good for business, it's good for marketing, but I think for the fan base that really enjoy competitive basketball at the highest level, I think it's been good. I've enjoyed it, you know, just seeing guys compete and seeing young fellas like Devin Booker, you know, take his team to a whole nother level. You've seen KD, you know, what he could do with Brooklyn. And so it's just really been good and it's very competitive.
No, I think I kind of have a different thought I think the actual fans of basketball are really enjoying it because you're getting to see teams that you probably don't get to see on, you know, the marquee nights every single night, you know, getting to see what they do. From a business side, I'm kind of interested to see how it goes because I do feel like they may lose that casual fan. Like in football, you may not watch football the whole year, but you're going to watch the Super Bowl, you know. And in basketball, it's a little different. You may not watch basketball the whole year, but if you hear a LeBron, a Steph, you know, or whoever that marquee person is, you know, you're going to tune in for that person. So I think for the actual fans of basketball, the ones who enjoy the game, like, you know, they're going to enjoy it. But I am curious to see how, like, those casual on and off again fans are watching these games. I mean, we could have potentially two teams that have never made the finals ever. So I'm kind of in the middle.
That's true. Now I want to ask. No, I want to get your opinion. Come on, you can pull up. We're putting people in. Now I want to ask you this. You know, we have. Nemo, oh, you got to get out. Okay, come on, just come on in. Now we have a situation. I don't know if you heard me say this. The NBA has got a $24 billion deal right now for a TV contract. They're up this year, and they're looking to get $75 billion. They're trying to go from 24 to $75 billion for the rights deal for TV. You know what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing, though. Like, kind of like Joe said, we don't have Steph. We don't have LeBron. So I don't know if the soccer mom in Kansas City is maybe going to watch the finals. And if the ratings aren't, the NBA uses the ratings for leverage. Like, okay, ABC, y'all see, this is our ratings, you know, and all that. And so I wonder if that's going to be enough to get them exactly where they were going to be at. So my question to you is, do you feel they'll be able to get the exact amount they want in this next bidding deal, which is up this year?
If I be frank about it, I think the ratings of the NBA are down already.
Oh, yeah.
And so in light of that, and this was before the injury rash occurred. So for whatever reasons, call it COVID or people just distracted with other things, the economy, the attendance, both in the arenas and on television, we can all agree has suffered. Is this the time to be discussing an uplift in the revenues? I think the timing of it is poor. And this was with your stars, and then you add in, and this is what I really was hoping that we would get to talking about, is these injuries that's going on, which is I think is, I don't want to say devastating, but it's definitely hurting, not helping the league right now. So to answer the simple question, is the simple answer would be no. I don't think this is the time. I think the timing is off for that.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I was just gonna say I kindly agree with Molly on that aspect, but they also got to realize this is a down year when it comes to injuries. Where, like Joe said, right, you're gonna have people that never made the finals, yet alone made it to the Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals before. But that gives somebody, the NBA leverage in regards to, hey, this was a down year. We had injuries. But, hey, invest in us, and we'll make sure the following year, the next year is going to bring more. We're going to bring more fans. COVID is not going away, but they're allowing a looser attendance where now people are itching to go back to the games. Like Molly was saying, in regards to attendance was down. But now you have people that are saying, I was stuck at home for 12 months, 14 months, 16 months. I'm going to pay $600, $1,000 to attend a playoff game or a finals game.
Well, that's interesting because they said after COVID, there has been a surge in just spending overall where people just cooped up and ready to go out. Now, to be fair, there was a huge dip in the bubble in last year's playoffs, which everybody saw. It's better, the ratings this year, but not great. So it's still, but the problem is just the deal is up. So they got to renegotiate because the deal is up. So
yeah, and I just want to add too. I mean, with the economy, I mean, folks just don't have the money. I mean, with this COVID devastated a lot of small businesses. So those who had these types of resources where they could get those front row seats, court seats, maybe that might not be the smartest there. So I don't know. I think there's been so much.
America, though.
Yeah, but there's so. I think there's a lot of factors playing into the down attendance and whatnot. And I just think, again, trying to renegotiate the television deals or what that might be bad timing. I'm not saying it's not there in the future, but in light of everything, this is like the worst time. It's like the perfect storm as far as the worst timing. You've got all of your stars are being hurt right now. We just lost Giannis last night. Yeah. We don't know how long. We don't know what the end result of that is for. But I think we were in danger of losing Booker at one point. But he had no hit in the nose. Chris Paul. I mean, everybody's hurt right now. And so it's going to be interesting. Trae Young, we lost Trae Young, so it's going to be interesting to see how these guys bounce back and how the league bounce back.
Okay, so let me go around. You're the NBA commissioner. You're the NBA league office. We got 4 teams left. Phoenix in LA, Atlanta and Milwaukee. Who do you want for your finals commissioner? Just from a league standpoint, who do you want in the finals?
Who do I want in
if
the
you're
finals?
The league office, who are you? Not saying they rig it, just saying who you want.
If I'm the commissioner, who I want in the finals is probably Phoenix, just for the fact that Chris Paul has had a good name as a player and has a good fan base. I think a lot of players and fans would like to see him actually finally win a championship, especially in this situation. Last year, the year before, where they're down 3 or they're up 3-1.
Yeah,
then they lose. That's tragic for players like him, especially guys who work really, really hard. I think if I'm a commissioner, I'd want to see him there because his name would probably, bring a little more interest than some of the others who haven't been there.
And on the other side,
on the other side, I would have to say Milwaukee if Giannis was healthy.
Healthy Giannis, yeah.
Love Giannis. Giannis, he was an all-star team captain, right? Next
true.
to LeBron.
That's a good point.
He has a huge drawing with the NBA fan base. And so if I'm a commissioner, I'd have to say Milwaukee and Phoenix.
I'm going to have to go with Phoenix and Atlanta. And the reason why, 2 years ago, you have 2 of the worst teams in each conference do a complete turnaround from going from dead last to now potentially 1 game away or 2 games away, depending on East or West, on making the NBA Finals. So that's a story, even though there's injuries and LeBron's not in it, Giannis is hurt, right? Kawhi is hurt. That's a story that they can sell on its own to say, hey, we had 2 teams that was dead last. They were tanking. They were awful. Nobody liked them. And they turn it around through – it was through the draft and through tanking also. But the fact that they turned it around within 2 years and now they're making the finals, that's going to sell on its own.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. You really don't see that in basketball. I think typically, like football, you have it where, you really don't know who's going to win the Super Bowl. But basketball, you typically, aside from like these once in a decade, you pretty much know who's going to make it. But I think with that being said, if I'm the commissioner from the commissioner side, with Kawhi probably going to be out for the, even if they make it to the finals, he'll probably be out for a while. I would say the Suns in Milwaukee, and I would, if I'm the commissioner, want Milwaukee to win because, for the last 10 years, I think you could probably easily say Bron has been the face of the NBA. So with him getting older, you don't know how many more years he's going to play. The league probably is going to have to start looking for another face. And you can kind of see it. They've been really trying to find it, Luke and different guys. And Giannis is in a prime position. He's got his own deal with Nike. He's got his own shoe. He's a likable guy. So for him to win a championship, you kind of, get that marketability. Then you've got the storyline of him trying to get his first and Chris Paul trying to get his first. And that's one thing the league always is going to do is trying to paint some type of storyline. And I feel like that's the best scenario. But, again, you don't know who's going to – even if these teams make it to the finals, you don't know who's going to play, who's going to be healthy. But if I'm the commissioner, that's who I would go for.
If I'm commissioner, I'm just happy LeBron's not in it. No, because you need new – I say that jokingly, but you need some new blood. I think the league needs some freshness to draw a new audience. And Yeah, I agree completely with you, Joe, that, basketball is one of the sports where you can pretty much consistently find out who's going to be if it was a horse race, you pretty much know your top 4 horses every year. Football, not so much. But what's been interesting about this year is that the game of attrition has really shown its head. Mm-hmm. Injuries change everything. Injuries change franchises, and we've seen that. So if I'm commissioner right now, I agree. I like Chris Paul. He's a solid citizen. You like to see him find. He's that player that you just kind of root for. I like the Suns. As far as in the East, I'm gonna go with Atlanta simply because I think that without their superstar, they're the most complete team. They can win without Young. I don't think Milwaukee can win without Giannis. I know they can. So I think from a competitive standpoint, and since I'm trying to draw fans, it's a contract year. What I want is eyes on the screens. I want people in the seats. I want the games that's going to attract most, and I think the most intriguing matchup would be the Suns and Atlanta, as opposed to the Suns and a Giannis-less Milwaukee. I think that attracts more.
I will say though, if the Clippers are even without Kawhi, I think a storyline still could be painted. Bring back that kind of LA wars. The Lakers won it last year. If the Clippers were to win it this year, even without Kawhi, you still I know the league can paint a story out of anything, but
tired as LA. We're tired of LA.
LA's just getting back, man. LA's just getting back.
Man. No, I'm sorry. I can't take no more.
No.
We're tired of LA.
but
no more LA teams.
Here's the thing, though. Again, from the commissioner's standpoint, it's the second biggest market you have, right? And and then there's storylines all abound. The good thing with Phoenix is, I heard a person make a great point. I bring up the soccer mom in Kansas City. She does watch them State Farm commercials. Mm-hmm. He does have that recognizable face. Paul George is maybe not as much. Kawhi, we know he don't talk much. I know they'd be like, boy, it'd be great to have that LA market engaged, the TV and all that. So I would almost say it's a pick 'em in the West. But in the East, I'm going to say this. As much as I'm rooting for Giannis, I think they would not mind Atlanta, because understand something. What has it been? If you go back 7 years ago, wasn't nobody thinking about Golden State. Like, Golden State, what? Who are they? What are they going to do? But they established a huge market in Silicon Valley. They had a whirlwind with the Splash Brothers, and they just took over the league. Now, it's this great giant, but it was not, it ain't been a decade. It's been about 7 years. Trae Young, and this is gonna lead me to my next thing with you guys. Trae Young is something about him. He embraces that villain role. He ain't scared of nobody. It's kind of like we said, this Atlanta team. Yeah, I'm not gonna go there with you. And again, Atlanta is ready to explode. The whole city is just nuts. That southern market, they would love that.
Atlanta's a hot market.
Yes.
If you bring a championship to Atlanta,
like this,
that might change the game.
No shade to the good people of Wisconsin, but Atlanta, and you tie in Mississippi with that, or that whole southern belt, because you don't really have a southern team, so to speak, maybe Memphis. That would be huge for them. So I think if I was the commissioner's office, I would be kind of leaning that. Now I want to transition into one more thing with you guys. We have seen the advent, and maybe because of the injuries, the advent of the young player. It used to be Jordan. It took him 6-7 years to break through, and a lot of you have to pay dues. LeBron. But now we've seen Devin Booker. We've seen Trae Young. We've seen these young guys come out of, even, Terrence Mann for the Clippers, got his shot and balled out. You know what I'm saying? And it used to be where, hold on, young fella, you're not ready yet, but they're kind of doing it. Do you think it's a different day for the young players? Do you feel like these young guys are like, man, I ain't trying to wait no 8-9 years. It's my time. Do you feel like there's a shift in that?
I'd have to say yes, because these young players are coming into the league just having played 1 year of college basketball, right? And so even though they're still under 25, like Trae Young and Jason Tatum and Donovan Mitchell's and Luka Doncic, these guys, Luka in particular, this guy's been playing professional ball since he was 16, right? And so age really isn't anything but a number. When you think about these guys and their skill level and what they're able to do on the floor, to me, Trae Young is probably the next closest thing to Steph Curry that I've ever seen in terms of a guard. And so, it's really not about the age. It's about where you are in terms of court maturity, court IQ, how you can lead a team, how you can contribute to your team winning. And that's what these young guys have proven that they're able to do. The way that Jason played against the Nets, he balled out. This guy was, you would never know that he was just a 24, a guy under 25. He played like a veteran, like he was playing on Kobe's level. And so I think it is, time for these young guys. So.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it in football sense, right? Like a couple years ago, they started rushing the first round draft picks to play immediately, right? And that instilled into the generation of, I need to play now. I don't want to wait. Like, let me go through my bumps and bruises now. I'm gaining that experience. So now with the NBA, they're gaining that, but it doesn't take, we don't need to have a 29-30 and we're paying them $75 million a year. We can get a guy under his rookie contract, maybe have his bumps and bruises the first 2 years, and now it clicks for them because they're gaining that experience. So I think it's great for the league that these young cats, again, if you go through the list of under 25, it's just crazy how they rank in the top 50 top players, regardless of age. And I love LeBron. I mean, I'm a Laker fan all day, but I'm glad to see this youth push with the league, the stars, to make sure that the game is in great hands. So I think it's great.
Yeah, I personally think the game of basketball has just changed overall. With the advent of the 3-point shot, you got guys that can be Trae Young size and lead a franchise. Before it was like these anomalies like Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson. These were like anomalies. You didn't see that all the time. Now you've got, Steph, these guys, smaller guys, a $150 leading teams to the finals because of how the game has just changed.
I was born 18 years too late.
I forgot Donovan Mitchell is only 6'1".
Yeah,
he's really not that big. I'd be forgetting that.
And it's just how much like the game has changed. And I think even too, it goes even back to like the kids get on the map from the AAU circuit like in high school. So this like I think is more so before, I think in the years past, kids coming up were groomed to play basketball. I think now it's more so you're trained to do one or two things exceptionally well, and then as time your game grows to evolve. But because guys can do a few things at a level nobody else can do, they're able to take these large steps. Whereas even Jordan, as great as he was when he came in, there was still he developed his game kind of as a whole. You got certain guys that all they do is shoot threes. Yeah. Certain guys that, Luka isn't the greatest three-point shooter, but because he does what he does so well, he's able to take his team to the playoffs. So I think the whole mentality of the game is, what can I do great right now, and I'll focus on the rest later. But if I can do something great right now, if you can rebound great, if you can shoot great, we can pull what we can together and win the championship.
I mean, and jumping on that, though, real quick, I mean, because of Steph and the guys who can shoot, they transitioned the game where now the big man was so dominant. Man. Now they phase them out like, we don't need a big man. We'll run a guy who's 6'8" at the center spot.
Yeah. Wait, look.
Excuse me if I sound like the Skip Bayless of what's going on, but Skip. I appreciate basketball from a different era. I'm not impressed with a whole lot of these young cats because
get off my lawn.
You can't hand check them. You so much as blow on them. They blow the foul on you. The reason why I have more respect for the game back in the day, not taking nothing away from, I guess I am, but not taking a whole lot away from the skill level of these players today. No questioning the skill level. But because the game has lost an element of physicality that was once there back in, I don't want to sound like one of them old times. I remember back when Michael Jordan, but again, come on now. You come up that paint was no joke back in the day. And these cats now coming out of high school, running all up in the middle, try that back in the day. No. That wasn't happening. They beat up Jordan. Jordan had to get in the weight room. They was killing him. Yeah. So, comparing these players today, not skill level, they're out cold. You got cats 6'6" pulling up from the three and hitting all day long. I mean, you got cats who can do that now, but
Well, but see, and you're giving me a great point. That was the point I was going to make. Because here's the thing. Back in the day, everybody wanted that 6'10", 250-pound bruiser. Drop it into him, let him body down, shoot a shot.
He had to.
Yeah.
He was getting beat up any other way. It was a street fight.
And the little guys couldn't get in there. But once the game changed, once we opened up, and I always say this, it's not so much the three-point shot that's taking over. It's the threat of the three-point shot. So if I got to guard Damian Lillard out to 30 feet now, it opens the lane up. Like the biggest misnomer with the Golden State Warriors was like, all they do is shoot threes. They would lead the league in points in the paint. You know why? Because Steph is out there, but now the lane is wide open. So now you can just dump it down. Guys can drive and stuff. He was like fourth or third in the league in points in the basket because of that stuff. Because
that's a commissioner's fault. The commissioners, they changed basketball. They did their microanalysis and they realized that people want to see scoring.
Well, every league.
So they pulled back, the defense. Of course, they do the same thing in football. You can't hand check in football no more. You can't. Defensive back is basically helpless back there. So they want to see scoring.
So do you think it's scoring, or do you think it was the malice at the palace that they had to try to cover up the black guy?
A little bit of that.
No more physicality in a sense, because that's when around that time it changed.
Two things can be
people pay for that.
But people want offense. Even baseball, all these dudes now they want to do is hit home runs. That's why they said the strikeout rate is so much higher in baseball now because all dudes are doing is trying to crank it out.
But you can't tell me that the physicality does not attract fans. I mean, or else hockey would not be the place where it is. I mean, people come to hockey, see a couple of scores, but they also know it's about to get on.
Like that, yeah.
That's part of the sport of it. So
okay, guys, we're running out of time. So let's very quickly. Right now, so it's still a Final Four. Who's winning the title?
That's a good question. It comes down to injuries, really, and because the Clippers are my team, actually.
Yeah.
Because Kawhi's my favorite player. But because of injuries, that we've been talking about, I think Phoenix is in the West.
So you think Phoenix? You think they're gonna win it all?
I'd have to say that because they have no players that are injured.
Currently.
If they remain healthy, they have the best shot. Because Trae Young is out, we don't know how long. Giannis is out, we don't know how long. Right. So it really comes down to who can stay healthy.
Okay.
I got Phoenix. I don't care who they're playing. Phoenix in 5 in the final.
Phoenix in 5.
I mean, this is tough. I've been, 4 months ago, we all were saying Brooklyn and probably Lakers or whoever comes out the West.
Yeah.
I mean, well, to be honest, with the injuries Lakers had, it was Brooklyn, whoever comes out the West.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So, Josh, it makes it excellent. I think I've been wrong in every single playoff series because someone has gone down. But I'm guessing Giannis is going to come back. I know he had a bad injury.
That's hard. Yeah, that's a big.
But
if they're tear, so that's the good part.
Yeah, I'm saying if their team makes the finals, I think every team, these 4 teams, understand this might be our only chance to win a championship.
You better
because Brooklyn comes back, Golden State's coming back,
Lakers,
LA, all these teams are coming back. So a lot
you don't
of
think
LeBron
LeBron sit home bro? That's supposed to be my title.
Exactly.
You don't think KD? Everybody mad right now.
LeBron is in his chamber right now.
KD is a shoe size away from
exactly
right. He's put on the line. Yeah.
So I'm saying a lot of these teams understand. So I'm going to say Milwaukee just for that reason, because in my opinion, if Milwaukee does not win it this year, you have to blow it up.
Yeah, you got
this is like they if they don't win it this year, they're not. I can't see them next year winning it, because next year next year you got the Nets coming back. You got Lord knows what's going to happen in Philly. I'm saying personally, and this is Giannis' opportunity to be considered. I think where he wants to be considered in that, hey, I'm one of the best in the league. So I'm saying Giannis got to win it.
I'm doing my Skip Bayless. I can't stand that dude, by the way. But anyway, I'm doing it. I agree. A healthy Giannis, Milwaukee. I can drop the mic. But what we don't know is not only what the test will reveal from his knee, but mentally, does he trust that knee? That's going to be the issue. The doctor can tell him, the orthopedic surgeon can tell him, hey, Giannis, you're good. But does he mentally trust that knee.
Because he's an explosive player.
Because he's an explosive player. He's got to be. He can't even be thinking about it.
Right.
He's just got to do his thing. And if he's worried about that knee, so other than that, I like the Suns. I think again, the Suns have got the Suns. I think it's Chris Paul's time. Honestly, I think they got Booker, Chris Paul. They got the weapons. They have a better shot. Again, Giannis is a one. Milwaukee relies too heavily on one player. You lose that player.
Well, that's why I've always said Middleton's not a number 2. He's a 2A, 2B, and when he's on, he can carry you, but he's very, very streaky.
Is carry you when it counts.
Is Giannis a number 1?
Well, see, okay, we about to go, but here's my thing. Let me just say this to the camera. Stop trying to make Giannis be don't ask Giannis to do anything you wouldn't have asked Shaquille O'Neal to do, okay? Because they're literally having almost the same season. If you look at, one of Shaq's great seasons, Giannis is having the same season. We didn't ask Shaq to shoot threes. I know it's the new NBA. We didn't wonder when's Shaq gonna get an 18 because he's so good in the paint. Just let him be in the paint. I don't know why he's old. Why does he got to shoot 7-3? Just he can't be stopped. But with that said, my pick, I was on the Suns in the bubble. And the only reason why is because they went 8-0 in the bubble. And I said this. I said, hold on. Because remember, when COVID hit, then the bubble, it was 3 months. It was basically an off season. And I was like, listen, these are young players. If DeAndre Ayton plays 13 years, we're not going to judge him on the second year and be like, that's as good as he can be. If he play, he's going to be better. I'm like, young players get better. I said, Phoenix is going to be good. And I didn't know this was going to be this good. And that was before they got Chris Paul. So I kind of hitched my wagon to him. So I'm going to stay with him. But again, this has been such a war of attrition. Jeff asked me before the playoffs started, he's like, who you got? I said, I got the most healthiest team. I said that before the start of it. So we're going to see. As of this point, they're playing games now. We don't know. Phoenix might be in. I don't know. And it's so many questions, you know what I mean? Can Booker breathe? Can Chris, with that, he's coming off of it, the shoulder, it's so many things. So looks like we got Phoenix. He said Phoenix, Milwaukee, Phoenix. Again, ice trade, we don't know. I mean, if he take it, he take it. I wouldn't be surprised. Put it like this, I wouldn't be surprised by any result. Any result, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think after what we've seen, I don't think there's.
You can't.
I wouldn't be surprised by
you
nothing.
Can't. So.
I'm taking a chance because I always call Chris Paul tender love.
Okay. And with that, guys, thank you for joining the Shareholders podcast. Monty here. Check us out. Be blessed. Stay sharp.
Always getting hurt.